going on, everybody? You are now tuned in to Inside the BeatBox. I'm your host. Go by the name of Random. And what we like to do here on Inside the BeatBox is sit down and get a little personal, little conversations with some of the most prolific producers. I happen to know quite a few of them. And today, very fortunate to sit down with my real good friend, Tony Touch, aka DJ TouchTone. Give you a little background about this dude. I've been knowing this dude since the 90s. A lot of y'all can't even comprehend that. This dude made one of the first records that ever got me out of the country. That's for real. He made this song called Making Daddy Proud. And ever since then, man, me and him had a connection like I don't even understand. I'm hoping that you guys get a chance to meet him tonight. We're gonna be talking to him, man. How you doing tonight, man?
Doing good, brother Random. How you doing, man?
I'm all right, man. This is the first time we're doing a show like this inside the BeatBox. I basically just want to, pick your brain, check out your production process, ask you some questions in the meantime. I want to know why you do some of the things you do, how you do some of the things you do. I think that what you can tell the people is important. You with that?
No doubt.
So first and foremost, tell me something about yourself, man. Where you from?
From Inglewood. I'm from Inglewood and grew up in Pomona.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I turned it down over here. Grew up in Pomona?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I grew up in Inglewood, too, so love the childhood, but,
That's good.
my younger childhood, Inglewood,
It's good to have connections on both sides, baby.
No doubt.
And when did you first start getting into music?
I was always into music. I was one of those kids that was always at, when your parents throw those parties, you the kid that always put the kid, kept the party going, keeping the records freshly loaded on the turntable. You know what I mean? Just picking through the 45s or the records, and basically that's what really got me into it.
Yeah.
And then from there, beating on cardboard boxes and playing.
And you don't even realize that. To me, you don't even realize that you're into it because, there wasn't really much else to do when we were children. There wasn't like internets and cartoon channels and anything. So when you did soak into the music, you got a chance to listen to a lot of stuff that people don't even get the chance to listen to anymore.
Exactly.
And I know you soaked it in because you just pull out records out of the thin air every time I talk to you, man.
Oh, yeah.
So when you first started, what was your first? No, I got a good question. What was your first piece of equipment?
Professionally or just
first thing you used, first thing you bought personally. No, not even bought. First thing you got to help you make music. What's that first piece of equipment?
I believe I was like 6 years old, and Mom's got me a pair of bongos.
Pair of bongos.
Yeah.
And what'd you do with those bongos? Of course you beat on them, but you know what I'm saying? Would you? Because sometimes that could be a parent's worst nightmare, getting them like drums. So they're just playing them at all hours of the night.
Yeah, just playing on those bongos when other records would play. I would just play on top of the other records with the bongos because, I had an uncle that played percussion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My Uncle Freddie, you know what I mean? Seeing him play the percussions and stuff, and that's what kind of, Mom, I want a pair of bongos. And
in all honesty, that's probably what gave you your rhythm. That's very first, giving you your rhythm.
No doubt, yeah.
Okay, what was the first piece of electronic equipment you used to help you make music?
Dude, check this out. I went to high school with 187, which is from Above the Law. That's my homie, Big Hutch.
187, okay, yeah, Big Hutch.
Big Hutch. Me and him used to break dance and pop together. So.
Word.
So him and my other homeboy, MC Chic, they used to do these little talent shows. And I know you remember the Mattel Sensonic drums.
Oh, of course I do.
That was that's funny. That's the first piece of gear. So me and him would trade off, I'd be like, yo, let me borrow it. He'll go to his locker and get it and give it to me. I'll give it back to you Monday for the weekend. I'll have it, having a little 4-track and just.
And y'all would hook it up to the 4-track. Yeah. Because that was the ones you had to actually have the drums. And
you could do the drums, or you could just it had the buttons you could press that it had patterns where you could just hold it down and it.
And it did the automatic press like the Roomba. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
man.
Doing that, and basically I couldn't afford, technique. techniques.
None of us could.
You know, so my parents, I had one of their old turntables, so I used a slit. You know, I used to get paper towels and use for slip mats. So
and
I
start
would
spinning records.
Start, you know, I didn't have no crossfader, so I would just have to pick the part of the record that was, you know, get it playing on top of the beat and then cut. Just go back and forth with it.
No, these release your records by the time, because I know when I first started spinning records and trying to scratch on my mom's records, it was a problem.
Oh yeah.
She thought it was the end of the world.
Oh yeah. They didn't understand it. You know what I mean? It was so bad with me in my house. My pops, he wouldn't even let me listen to his record
because he knew.
I would just sneak. You know what I mean?
I mean, and to me, that's when you find out if you really love something. When someone says you can't do it,
right.
Like, oh, really? I'm gonna try to listen to this on my own.
Yeah, and you know, that's some of the things. You know, being an '80s kid. You know what I mean? Growing up in the '80s, there. You know, the late '70s and '80s. You know, we didn't have access to the things, you know, laptops and stuff like that. We had to pretty much find our way. We had to stumble through the dark. You know what I mean?
I think that developed a certain sense of work ethic.
Yeah.
Because we had to work so hard to get it.
Yeah, you had to work so hard to get it.
I mean,
you know.
I've been in the studio with this man. I've been in the studio with him for hours listening to records until he finds that one loop that he wants to use, just one part of it, and he makes the most brilliant magic with it. But we've listened to about maybe 80 or 90 records already. I mean, it's amazing how you process music, man.
Oh yeah, man. It's, you know, when you have a love for it, you know, that's what you do. You know, you as well as a producer. You know
I tried to be.
And it, nah, man.
I tried to be.
Come on.
I tried to be. I tried to be.
Cut it out.
I mean, but you know what? In all honesty, I learned at the foot of the masters, man. I mean, I've been very fortunate to work with you for this long, and I'm glad that the rest of the people in the country could see and process what you do. Let's just get into it, man. We playing a lot of stuff and we talking a lot. This is inside the BeatBox, man. Come on, man. We're gonna do something, man. What you got queued up over there, man? You want to do something new? You want to do something? You want to go through some beats? I see. Well, first of all, what'd you bring with you? What piece of equipment are we gonna be using today?
Man, normally about the MPC, Renaissance with me.
Okay. Okay.
I got my laptop, my Mac, and also, I have the Roland NV8800.
Okay. Now, I'm seeing a lot more people do the NV8800, but they're not doing it like you, man. How long have you been on that machine, man?
Since 2006?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a long time because, the industry is very faithful to the MPC. The machine is making an entrance. A lot of people, and of course, you have a machine too.
Oh yeah, but I'm an MP head. You know what I mean? I'm an MP. I'm a SB12. You know what I mean? That's right. That's what I started. Really, originally, you start chopping samples and stuff. We had the SB12, then graduate to the SB1200. You know what I mean? Then from that, MPC 60. You know what I mean?
I remember. This man gave me my very first drum kit. If you believe that, man, I bought an SP12, the 12, straight from like Guitar Center for like $300 because it didn't have a fuse in it, and the dude didn't know it didn't have a fuse in it. So all I had to do was get a little $3 fuse, and all of a sudden it became an $800 machine, and I had no sounds in it. So I came over to Tone. He's like, "Oh, well, first of all, you got to get a disc drive." I was like, "This thing's too old to have a disc drive." I had to buy a Commodore 64 disc drive. Remember that?
Yep.
With the floppy disk.
Floppy disk,
and he gave me oh, man.
You had to make it double-sided. You had to punch the holes.
Punch the hole in the side to make it double-sided. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was so hip-hop, man. Wow. Okay, so you got the Renaissance with you. You got your keyboard, and you got the MV88, or 8800, excuse me.
No, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And, of course, we're going to be working off of the MPC 2.0 software.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, let's let the people see how you break down a beat, and we'll ask questions and talk with you in the meantime.
Matter of fact, shoot, I don't have anything loaded up. Hold up.
You never. That's another thing about Tony. Like, it's like, hey man, play me something. He's like, well, I don't really got nothing, but check this out.
Cut up.
Can we get some volume? Hey, Junior, can we get some volume? A little bit of volume.
It's all the way up.
We need a little bit of volume on his. Better? A little bit. Now, as a producer, I know you know. Oh, listen to that shit. Oh, see, I'm trying to ask a question. And he just started making some hot stuff. As a producer, what is the first thing you're looking for when you make a beat?
Kick snares.
Yeah, you like the drums.
Kick snares. Make sure, you know what I mean? It's a science. You can't just use any type of kick snare. You know what I mean? You basically, if you want to beat, by being a producer or an MC, you know, it's texture.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Because every song is different, every beat is different, and you don't want to
Exactly.
fall into that same category where you use the same drums, every
Yeah.
thing. And a lot of people, you know, fall into that category. You know, I mean, it's nothing for you to just, you know, go out and, you know, get some new drums, make some new drums, man.
Yeah,
Do what you gotta do, man.
Do some crate jigging, man.
For sure,
You know,
sure.
knowing how to stack.
Let me see what other drills you got in there, man. You was playing something a little while ago, man. He's like, I don't got nothing loaded up. Later on in the program, we're gonna demonstrate how the MPC 2.0 software allows the users to link up with one another. It's a real unique function that not a lot of people know about, and me and him have done it on a couple beats, and it's came out pretty dope. So we'll do that later on. Ooh wee. Yeah, break down those pieces. What you got? What is that? I hear a lot of instrumentation in that too. You play a lot of that stuff, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you prefer to like lay the beat? I mean, if you're gonna use a sample, whatever, and then dress it up with a little bit of instrumentation, or do you integrate it with it while you're making it?
It all depends if the sample has a lot going on in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It all depends if I'm a filter or either just keep the sample repetitious and then just come on top and layer it and play stuff on top of it.
So that eventually, if you wanted to, you could probably take the sample out and it'd be original.
Very original, exactly.
Yeah. See, that's a lot of stuff that people didn't know about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's when you creating, you just want to make sure that the slate is blank.
Okay.
You know, if you have chops or if you just gonna start from scratch or either make your own chops, you know, play your parts and then you could chop your own parts up. You know what I mean?
That's another thing
chemistry.
that's unique about what you do. I've seen when you produce, like if you were going to play like a bass line or something on it, you actually sample it back into the machine so that you can play it on the pads rather than just playing it.
Right.
And why is it that you prefer doing that?
The feel, because actually it gives you the feel that you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, I grew up, you know, by being limited just by having
By not having a keyboard. Yeah. But which is crazy though, because like a person like me, like I have very limited keyboard skills. I know it sounds right, but my fingers are just not equipped to do that. Whereas you, I've made music with you, and you're a very accomplished pianist, you know? And he's like, I'll sample it and play it on the machine. I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah. But and in the same vein, I've also seen you on top of like live Pro Tools sessions, you'll play it just to give it that organic feel.
Right.
So I guess it's whatever really works for you, but it all works so great, man.
Yeah. There's no ruse to it. There's no method to the madness.
Here, man, just keep going through sounds, man. I want these people hear me talk all the time, man. I wanted them to showcase this guy right here, man. And yes, this is inside the BeatBox, powered to you by Flourish and Prosper. All raptalk.net. This is DJ Toe Touch. Ooh, that's live.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have stuff pre-made.
Yeah.
You know, looping this plate. You know, because I'm a live drummer, I like to do stuff with no quantize.
That's what I was just about to say. I know that, and tell the people why you feel that why you do think about that. And if you don't know what we're talking about quantization. On the MPC 3000, on most beat machines, there's a quantization, but there's time correction, where it'll automatically snap your beats into place and make it sound quote unquote right. However, well, I'll let you explain it. Why do you prefer not to do that?
Well, coming from I play drums. You know, I haven't, coming up playing drums, you want your stuff to sound live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want it to sound robotic. So you want it to be more humanized. You know, so just to get that feel, that real soulful feel, you know what I mean? no quantization, you know, you just train. Everybody has an internal clock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, you know, we all have heartbeats.
And sometimes, you know, that off is really on.
On, yeah.
Because I've noticed, you know, and this is, like I said, from fucking around with y'all so long, that, like, when you're sampling, like, let's say you're sampling a loop, even back in the day, the musicians were a little bit off.
Off, yeah.
You know, so, but that's what gave it that little funk, that little little bit off. So why wouldn't you want your drums to match that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's that human feel.
It's that human feel, man. And I know, but you excel at it in a different way than most people because you're playing that shit live. I've seen it and track it all the way down live for like 16 bars. Like, hold on, man, who does that shit?
Yeah, you just want to do that because you don't want it to be repetitious. You know, just like I said, just coming from the school of playing, being a drummer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just want it to have that feel good. You know what I mean?
And then to the point where, like, he'll go like 14 bars perfectly and mess up on the 15th bar and say like, oh, I got to do the whole thing over. No, just punch it. Nah, it's got to feel right. It's so frustrating with you sometimes, Tony.
Yeah, yeah.
I love your perfection. Where do you think that perfection came from? Like,
You know, from listening to just being a student. You know what I mean?
well, who are some of the producers that influenced you?
Oh, man. Basically, it goes all the way back, you know, from the greats. You got cats like Kashif, you know what I mean? It was, to me, Kashif, Stevie Wonder, those cats was the one that ushered in this the synthesized age of electronic music with sequencing with funk, yeah, man, R&B.
Yeah, at least for that side, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Because they was doing it in rock and roll, because they was taking chances and spending money on rock and roll back in the day, but they really wasn't, you know, messing with like R&B and soul music that much. You know, we had to go out and figure that shit out on our own.
Yeah, just, you know, the greats, you know, like Gamble and Huff, you know, those cats, you know, the Philadelphia sound, they had so much soul in their music. You know what I mean? Just being a student from the...
So I'm noticing by the people you're mentioning mostly like composers and mostly people who can arrangers and you know, people like that. That's so the way you approach making music is you make a whole composition rather than just I'm gonna make a beat.
Right.
That's the difference.
Oh yeah.
I guess that's what being a producer is, right?
Oh yeah. You know, you have to, you know, stay current. You know, you have to embrace what's going on now, but still you never forget your roots. You know what I mean? The real, you know, real recognized real.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can incorporate that to what's going on now, but still don't never lose that edge. Basically, it's just making good music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you've been making good music for a long time, man. I appreciate you, man.
Oh, man. Thanks.
We listen to some of your beats in the background. There's one in particular, when you mentioned that you were a drummer, there's one that's been, you know, catching my eye for like a long time. Like, man, this beat's bananas. I'm going to play it for the people right now. Yeah, this beat's bananas, man. Let everybody soak this up, man. This is an original composition by DJ TouchTone, aka Tony Touch. Representing Inglewood, Pomona, West Coast. This beat's amazing, man. So I'm asking him how you made this beat. He's like, oh, those are live drums. I wouldn't play that. I'm like, what are you talking about? I started listening to it. I'm like, oh, those are live drums. Big time, man. It sounds so good, man. Mixed very well, and I know for self that you mixed it on your own. How did you get into like mixing your own music? Because I know the stories, but you like,
yeah, just like I said, man, just being in the studio, man. You know, just like I said, I went to school, Hutch 187, you know, above the law, those cats, you know. Actually, you know, when I graduated, you know, because above, you know, Hutch, they graduated, and then after they got the deal.
Early, yeah, they got it early.
Yeah, Ruthless, and then from there, and then once, you know, Hutch, you know, him and Dr. Dre produced that first album together. You know what I mean?
First Above the Law.
Yeah, First Above the Law.
Yeah.
On Ruthless, and then they left Ruthless and got signed to Epic. So,
I remember.
Yeah, they left and they went to Epic. And so when they left Epic, I was at my mom's house visiting. And so Hutch came over and was like, yo, did you graduate yet? I'm like, yeah. So he's like, man, I need you, are you available to be coming in to be my help me drum program and play some keys? I'm like, hell yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
because you'd already developed a relationship with him, and he already knew you was making music. So he was making stuff in high school and stuff then. You was making music early.
Oh yeah. Then from there I got a chance, hanging out with Dre, DOC, working with Cocaine,
Shout out Cocaine, man. He's handling a lot of things right now. With Buddy Boy Entertainment. Shout out.
Yes, sir. And just, hanging around those cats and being a student and just, watching. Hanging out watching, and from there, working with other producers, my big homie Battle Cat, I was like my big bro. Learned a lot from him,
I remember coming over your house in the early 90s, and I seen this one dude, and he was like, you know what that was? I was like, nah, who's that? He's like, man, that's Chris the Glove Taylor, man. I'm like, well, who is he? Well, you tell him who Chris the Glove Taylor is.
Oh yeah, Chris the Glove Taylor, a lot of cats don't know, Chris, he was the DJ, remember the DJ on Breaking? He was Ice-T's.
I sure do. I sure do. When Ice-T was wearing them gloves with the fingers cut off.
Yeah, so he's the one actually produced that song, Reckless. And then Tibetan Jam, And from there, he came in with Dre. Dre hired him, he did Phone Tap,
Right.
Chris the Glove Taylor, Little Ghetto Boy,
Man, real talk, I'm gonna tell this story. I came over to Tone's house, and he was like, man, that's the dude that did Phone Tap. Because I gave him Dapper as he was leaving.
Right.
And he was like, hey, that's the dude that did Phone Tap. I ain't no damn Phone Tap. Dre did Phone Tap. What are you talking about? He's like, no, that's the dude. Hold on, I'll go get him. Hold on. He brought him back upstairs. He put the zip drive in your freaking 3000, and I'm listening to it. I'm like, and it's a little bit different. Dre put a little bit different, but he was like, boom. The drums were the same. I was like, oh. He's like, oh, that's nothing. I did this, that, and the other. You never know who you're gonna meet when you hang out with Touch. That's what's awesome about that. But yeah, man, that you're mentioning some like big dogs and OGs in the business. But as far as hip hop is concerned, who are some of your influences and what moves you?
Oh man, you got cats. Of course it's Dre.
Yeah, of course.
Diamond D. My man Pete Rock, of course. My man Dilla.
Man, rest in peace, Dilla.
Yes, sir. You just had it's just so many. Marley Marl. You just have so many. When you a lover and a student of music, man, it's just all good music. There's no favorite.
Yeah, I know.
It just.
You soak it all in.
You soak it all in. You got your cats from the Dudgeon family, the Organized Noise. Those guys are amazing, man. Then you got your new cats. They've been around for a minute. I won't say new cats. You have.
Well, compared to you, they knew, because you've been doing shit since you was 6 years old on motherfucking congas and a friggin' synthesized drum kit.
Shit, man. It's all fun. You're gonna pick up, man. You pick up a toothpick and a pencil if you're really inspired to make a beat, whatever tools you can.
That's real talk.
With your mouth or whatever.
And another cool, interesting Tone fun fact. He's one of the most humble dudes, man, in the world. I'm talking to him one time. He was out of town for a while. I'm like, hey man, where you go? He's like, oh man, I was hanging out with Knots. Hold on. Knots Raw? Hold on, what do you mean you was hanging out with him? Yeah, whatever. Just playing beats? Nah, What are you talking about, Tony? Yeah, and then, he's telling me stories about running into Dilla and things like this. Tone is just such an interesting man. He's so humble, and his beats are so incredible, and I just really can't wait for the world to get to really know who you are, man. Very appreciative that I know you, man. I want to get into we're gonna get into some making some new stuff, man. We can chat while we're making some new stuff, man. What you got over there, man? You lay the groundwork, and I'm gonna jump in whenever I can. It's Inside the BeatBox. I'm your host, MC Random. We got Tony Touch, aka DJ TouchTone. It's powered by Flourish Prosper on raptalk.net. Yeah, see, I love your drums too. You got the flyest drum kits. Oh yeah, do that. Word. So I'm going to assume that you turned the quantization off because that's how you roll. And what you tend to do, I noticed, because a lot of times people separate their drums, put them on different tracks. You put them all on one track. Do you usually explode them after that, or do you just, so that you do separate them when you put it in when you track it to Pro Tools, or do you mix it good enough so that you can put them all on one track when you?
No, it all depends. If I like the feels or the sounds, or normally I'll separate it. Explode it. Or if it's just a couple of instruments, if it feels good and feels right and sounds right, I'll just do it as one.
As one, yeah. Because usually the drums you use and stuff, they're already mixed pretty well anyway. So then when you transfer them, it's like, oh, okay, I'm just double mixing them.
Right.
Right. And as far as workflow, how do you feel about working with the MPC Renaissance? Is it a good workflow compared to like?
Man, I love it, man.
Because I know for a fact that you are extremely proficient in the MPC 3000. How does that compare to the MPC 3000?
The MPC 3000 is like the Rolls Royce of drum machine.
It is, right?
I mean, the feel.
And everyone says that. They say it's the feel. They can't never say like, well, what is it exactly? Well, it just feels different. That's one cool thing I enjoy about the Akai Renaissance. All of the Akais, the Touch Studios, all of them. They have that vintage mode where you can make it sound like an MPC 60 or an SB1200, and they do that by lowering the bit rate.
Right.
Because back in the day, what was it, only 12 bit?
12 bit.
So that's why a lot of times when you hear old hip hop, when they used to sample stuff and then slow it down, since there was only 12 bits, you'd hear that ring. And that's what we fell in love with that ring. So now they try to emulate it in current beat machine, but it's not the same. It's not the same. They always talk about Phil, and you just understand. Okay, so he's gonna go with the keyboard route and play some cool shit. Ooh, that's cool. I like that. You need the pedal? You need a sustain pedal?
No, we're good.
He said, no, we just good. This is just for your little pissy podcast show. I ain't really
You
doing
crazy.
that. So we're gonna be. It looks like you're gonna be adding some keys, and we're using the MPC as the driver. You're using VSTs. You don't really have to. I don't like people to know everybody's VSTs, what they use and everything. But I know for a fact your VST collection is extensive. Is there any particular brand you'd like to recommend to people as far as like starting out as getting like new VSTs? And then for people who don't know what VST is like a virtual instrument that's inside your computer that you can MIDI sounds up to. There's certain well, I'll let you talk about what are the certain standards as VSTs which you think people should get involved with as far as production.
Man, I really like Native Instruments. Man, I love Contact. You know what I mean?
It appears to be a standard, an industry standard. Yeah. Shout out Native Instruments, man. Send us some gear, man.
Yeah. And also you have what is it? Man, it's so many of them.
Yeah. How do you find out? What's the line that you find out about the new VSTs? Because everyone gets very complacent with their material, they make everything, but how do you go to find it? Not necessarily just VSTs, but equipment, it sounds. Where do you go? What is your source?
Just be astute, man.
Yeah.
And, ask once you're around the producers community, you're always on the cutting edge because your sound is everything.
Exactly.
Your sound is who you are. Just being astute and hanging around and just researching, internet, and thank God for the internet, man.
Thank God.
You can just.
But you know what's dangerous? But you know what's dangerous about the internet? The internet can be a perfect tool if you really know what you're looking for.
Right.
Because sometimes you can run down a rabbit hole and get caught up in some two girls in a cup shit. And I was like, hey, I just wanted a new sample. What's going on over here? Or maybe that's just my search engine. Right. Hey man, I don't want to interrupt them keys from sounding nice, man. He's like, I don't like the keys anymore. See, that sounded fresh, right? That's the perfect thing about Tony. It's like, he sounded nice. He's like, that's cool. Yeah, it's still so simple. I know for a fact that when you play instruments, you don't use any type of quantization. Same thing applies. Do you want it to sound more natural?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just whatever you feeling, man.
A lot of it's vibe. A lot of the vibe is because you've had many hours of listening to music. So, I mean, the advice I have is like, producers, beat makers, whatever, man, just soak in stuff before you try to jump in. You gotta understand what you're getting into, man.
I don't have.
What you got? You trying to look for a bass?
Let's see, man.
It's gotta be a knocker bass. And for y'all who don't know, that's that's sort of how me and Tony, when we get together, that's sort of how we produce. Like, I talk a great instrument, and he can actually make the instrument happen with his fingers. It's amazing. You tune in to Inside the BeatBox. Ooh, that's cold. Yeah, that's cold. Yep. Doom, 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 doom. Yep. Boop, 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 boop. But you better track that and stop playing.
Hold up.
He said, see, he's getting close. He's like, hold up, I'm finding it. Shout out my man June Bug running the soundboard, man. Everything sounds lovely tonight, man. Thank you very much. That's cold.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, let's go with that. Oh my God. Ooh. You better stop playing. Oh my God. Now what are you looking for now? You just hear something on top of it or what?
Yeah, just put something on top of it. What is it? Where is it? What feels good? Let's see. Whatever feels good. Let's see.
That's the perfect plug-in if you don't have a DJ. Oh yeah, by the way, he's also a DJ. Oh yeah, track that, homie. MC Random, my very special guest, Tone Touch, aka DJ TouchTone, West Coast. Ha.
Yeah, I mean, just
That shit is fucking hard. Hold on, man.
Just,
You're just like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to send this link out right now. See, I got all cotton sucked in. Well, you put that on top of it. You didn't do it?
Nah, I didn't do it, man. You know what I mean? It's normally normally I start off with a sample, chop it up, and then play stuff on top. Right now, that's just something. You don't have enough time to actually go through, really dissect it, and if you're gonna add dimensions to it. You know, if you know, this hip hop still, I like to add bridges, change ups. You know what I mean?
I'm just tripping off the fact that that was a nice little 15-minute beat, and that's better than most people's hours of work.
Oh man, you got so many beautiful producers out there, man. Don't get the shine that they deserve, man.
That's
you know
true.
What I mean? You know, there's a lot of monsters out there. You know what I mean? So man, you just gotta embrace what's going on around you, man. Have that beautiful energy, be around good people, man, and real recognize real.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that a lot. Check this out, man. We're gonna take a little break. We're gonna come to the second part of the show. We're gonna actually do a sample pack review. We're gonna get a couple sample packs, let you know what they are about, and we're gonna make a little something from that. And hopefully you enjoy yourself. Hopefully you learn a little bit something more about Tony. Stu's an incredible producer, man, and you see why I've done a lot of work with him, and I appreciate you for coming, but you're not going away yet. That's cool. All right, cool, man. Why don't you play that beat on the way out, man, so we can get what you do. I can't resist. See, I'm saying add that, man. That's hard. Hey, stay tuned. We're going to be right back.
should play one of your, like the other beat, Randall, like the beat that you came in with, like your beat, the beat.
Oh, yeah. All right, we need one beat for this go.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Can you turn yours down? What we're going to do this purposely. It's not a perfect world. That's okay. Because right now we're just. That's a great interview, man.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Great interview. That was a great interview.
I'm gonna name it interview. Everything is still inside the beatbox. This is just this first segment. It cuts off in our behind the beatbox playlist if we want right now. We can go live again, and every time we go live and it's a new segment if it's the same day.
Right.
That's just the episode of the day braided into one playlist, and that just goes 1, 2, 3. And if we want, we throw music videos in between it because YouTube's gonna play everything sequentially anyway. So if we want to later, we